Hey guys! I really hate this, like, sitting here in this, like, place to film this because this is the most, oh my god. This is, like, the least aesthetic place to film. So I want to do my monthly wrap up because I'm packing up to go to New York City and then to Durham. So I am going to be driving and the next week is going to be super hectic, so I want to film this now before I start packing because I'm going to be packing all of these books with me. These are all the books that I read this month in July. Today's July 30th and tomorrow's the 31st, I believe. So I technically have one day, but I'm going to be so busy tomorrow. I don't plan on reading anything. I'm not currently in the middle of anything. So I'm going to run through all of the books I've read, all 21 books that I read this month. We gotta get going. So I'm going in backwards order because that's how I have them stacked here. So I recently just finished Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. This is a football romance. It's a love triangle, and I think I ended up giving this 2.5 stars because this has the most unhinged plot of like any book any published book I've ever read. Any published romance book I've ever read. This has like one of those tropes that's like you haven't seen since like you read something posted on Wattpad. Just the most unhinged plot points, and I liked most of it. The first like 300 pages were so good, but it should have just ended there instead of the like plot twist or main plot point that just like makes no sense at all. I don't know, the way that all goes down is absolutely ridiculous and I just could not get over it. So maybe I would like bump it up to 3 stars, I guess, because some people really love it, but I so absolutely unhinged. Before that, I had finished A Warrior's Fate by Melissa Kieran. I filmed this for a reading vlog that I am putting together, so eventually you will see a more in-depth discussion and reading vlog of me doing this for a video I had. This, not to spoil that, I really enjoyed this. It's a werewolf fantasy romance, except for like it's actually really plot heavy, which is super kind of fun because I went into it just thinking it was going to be a romantasy, but it was actually really cool. It's fated mates, and yeah, I think it's my first actual fated mates. I don't really count Sarah J. Maas because it's not fated the same way, if that makes sense. So yeah, this was really fun to read. Before that, I read This Is Where It Ends, and I do really like reading sad books, so I kind of had high expectations for this because I hadn't looked at Goodreads. But when I was like 3/4 of the way through, I looked at the Goodreads and saw all of the negative reviews, and I was like, okay, glad I'm not the only one. So this is a story about a school shooting, but it's told from 5 different perspectives. So it was really hard to kind of connect to any of the characters because it's jumping between different characters, different storylines, and kind of different relationships to people who are involved in it. So I found it really hard to kind of connect to. And I did think it was like dramatized in a way that was unrealistic, and so I wasn't a huge fan of this. I think I gave it maybe 3 stars. It was just kind of like, I don't want to say ridiculous, but some of the way things were written, it didn't do the topic justice. Like, it could have been a really beautiful book and it just wasn't. Before that, I read the first 2 books in the Playing for Keeps series by Becca Mack, and these were so good. If you have never heard of them, they are NHL hockey romances, and oh my god, I absolutely loved these. I don't necessarily know how I feel about the player trope, but whatever. Like, to each their own, and man's was in the NHL, he could be a player, because I always actually hate how it comes to bite them in the ass later when they want to be serious and the girl's like, but you were a player. Because, you know what, I always like to see the best in people in that situation where I'm like, okay, well, maybe he loves you. Especially because you read from his perspective, you're like, no, like, he's serious. So I always hate that. But I absolutely loved Carter. He has such an adorable golden retriever energy. It was so fun. And then Jenny and what's his face were so adorable as well. Like, they just were so cute. I absolutely loved these. And the plot was fun, the spice was fun, the couples were fun, all the side characters were fun. Like, I loved it, and I'm so excited for Adam's book, which I don't know when it comes out, but also these are just such pretty covers. Ugh, I love them. Except for the way she describes Canada is so confusing to me because I live just below Toronto, and they always say like East Coast winners, but then they mention living near Toronto, but I know they play for Vancouver, and the way they travel is just so confusing. So I'm pretty sure it takes place in Vancouver, but I don't know. Before that, I read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I really love academic rivals to lovers, and with a little fantasy. I was so excited to read this, especially with all the hype it got, and it was so good. I absolutely loved the couple in this book. Like, I think academic rivals to lovers, it is a like top god tier trope. Like, it is amazing, and the tension between these two and just like the storyline with the letters and like, oh my god, it's beautiful, and it was so good, and I'm so excited for the next book. I'm a little torn. If you know, you know, but it was so good. I read My Fault by Mercedes Ron, and I read this because the movie was really good. And okay, I don't want to say really good like it was some cinematic masterpiece, but girl, it was good. And I really liked Through My Window, which is kind of similar, where it was like a Wattpad book. Well, I don't know that this was Wattpad, but I know Through My Window was, but it was adapted, and they were both originally Spanish stories. And I read Through My Window, which is so funny. I don't know why I picked this up, because I read Through My Window and it was horrible, but this cover's so pretty. Anyways, I read it and I just didn't like it. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's another one of those things where it was absolutely ridiculous, like unhinged plot points, and like the way she thinks and like talks is like just so not realistic, and I don't know, just corny. So I didn't really like it, but I do think it's really pretty though. So there's that at least. Okay, I read Fable by Adrian Young, and this wasn't my favorite YA fantasy. I just don't think that like pirates are like up my alley, because I didn't really like Daughter of the Pirate King, but this one, I think one of my issues was that the romance in it just like doesn't make any sense. Like, I kind of inherently ship them together because I like them each as characters, but there's no chemistry between them before the first like 3/4 of the book or 2/3 of the book, and like he never speaks, like they never interact, and then he kind of whips out like this like, I've always loved you, and it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I don't know, it was still pretty good, and I know a lot of people love it, so I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. Like, it was good and it was entertaining. I also read Black Ties and White Lies this month by Kat Singleton. Oh, this is ex-boyfriend's brother billionaire romance, which was so fun. I love when the ex-boyfriend is related to the love interest. Like, I've even like been down with like ex-boyfriend's dads. I'm like, oh, say less. Like,
birthday girl slay.
This was so fun. It's his older brother who's just like so much more like put together and respectful and suave, and oh my god, it's fake fiance girl, and this man was doing something for me. He's like stoic billionaire. I was like, stop. It was really good. I also read The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I really enjoyed this. I thought the premise of it was really fun, and I always love when a kid is involved. It's a single dad. She nannies for him. Oh, and the spice was really good in it. That man, I would marry that man. I read Swear on My Life. Oh, I forgot to mention Fable is also in that reading vlog, as well as Swear on This Life by Renee Carlino. And I didn't love this. It is a second chance romance, and the way it's written just confused me, or it didn't confuse me, but it wasn't what I expected. But basically, when the second chance happens, the man, when he comes back, I'm like, why aren't you doing more? Like, he should have been doing more than he was, you know what I mean? Anyway, basically, this girl, she wants to be a writer, and basically, this new big book is published, and she starts reading it, and she's like, oh my god, this is literally my childhood story. This must be written by my long lost best friend who I was in love with, and then like sent me to foster care and haven't seen in 10 years. And then, yeah, and she's reading this book. But most of this book is that book, and I was like not expecting that. Like, most of this is just like her reading the book, but like the actual book, I don't know. So I was not prepared for it. I also just don't love second chance romance. Next, I have The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brommer. This was so good. I'm not a huge lit fic girl, but I absolutely loved this. I loved the way it was written, and I love the characters, and I love the story, and I really just love everything about this. I love the parallels. That's like one of my favorite things in reading is a parallel, but like I feel like I rarely like pick them out, especially with like long fantasy series, but this, like having the exact parallel, like oh, it made me so happy. I thought it was so beautiful. And basically, this is also in the reading vlog, but it follows Clover, who works as a death doula. So basically, she spends, you know, time with people for their last days. And because of this, she doesn't really have a lot of friends because she deals with death. So, you know, all this. And so basically, it's just kind of a story of her and kind of when her life actually does change, like, a little bit, but, like, not a lot. I don't know. It was very good and I really enjoyed it. I also read My Dark Romeo by Parker S. Huntington and LJ Shen. This was really fun, but I love arranged marriage, but I don't love it when it's like one of them is forced into it. Like, I'd rather them both be forced into it because then one of them kind of feels like the villain, and I don't love that. In Romeo, in this one, he feels like a villain a lot of the time because he kind of forced her into this and she's just so depressed and like unhappy. But I mean, I still really liked it, and like I liked them, and I love this cover, but I have a love-hate actually no, I don't have a love-hate relationship with LJ Shen. I did not like the other book of hers that I read, and this one I'm like, I love Parker S. Huntington, so I'm like, is it LJ Shen that I like about this, or is it Parker S. Huntington? But I don't know. It's arranged marriage. Oh, it's not even arranged marriage, it's forced marriage. I can't. Oh, also, instead of saying Harry Potter, they have like a fake series called like Henry Plonker or something. I was like, you're kidding. Also this month I read Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. This is a marriage of convenience, which I don't always love, but I love the characters and their chemistry and August, and I love how mature he is, like emotionally, and like always wants to talk things through and is like always like, I will be there for you. And they have like this weird third act like incident. I wouldn't say it's a breakup, they just like have a fight, so that's nice. That's not a whole breakup, but they do have like a third act fight, which was like but the resolution of it was really cute and sweet, and I don't know, I really did like them. I also finally finished the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. This was Sebastian's book and Yelena. She really slayed. For real. And they actually really slayed in here, even though like it was so sad. Sebastian makes me so sad because like he really just wanted to be a basketball star. But I absolutely love Sophie Lark. I'm excited to now read the Kingmaker series. But I was happy to finally finish this one out. Best mafia romance I've ever read, truthfully. Ooh, the next one was so fun. Okay, I read Contractual Obligations by Elle Rivers, and this is also an arranged marriage, and I feel like most of the issue is like the main like plot point of this that's not good is actually, I think almost all of the issues that ever in this book stem from miscommunication, which is like one of my least favorite tropes. But honestly, this book was so good. The couple was so cute, and I love how it's really about like him falling in love with her, like real, because basically they're arranged, and after 5 years like they're gonna be able to get a divorce. She gets her inheritance, but she's kind of been like putting on this perfect wife facade based on like what her mom told her she should be, and it follows kind of like her and him moving away because their parents make them, and since she's further away from her mom, she gets to kind of start slowly become herself, and he's like, whoa, who is this? And like he kind of like falls in love with like the real her. It was really cute and I really enjoyed it. I would definitely check this out. I recommend this one. So I finished the Crowns of Nyaxia, or no, the Nightborn duet, which I didn't realize is a duet, a part of the bigger series called Crowns of Nyaxia, which is crazy. But I finally finished it. I read Six Scorched Roses, which is the novella in between. Loved it, so good. And then I read The Ashes and the Starfall King, which I gave 5 stars because honestly, it was wrapped up so well. I loved this universe. I loved this plot. I loved the characters. Like, Carissa Broadbent, like, I want to read as much, like, I can't wait to read Daughter of No Worlds because this one was so amazing. And I really don't know much to say other than, like, perfect wrap-up of a high fantasy plot. Like, it was so good. I read the Beyond the Play series by Grace Riley, so it's the First Down football one, Breakaway, and Stealing Home. I think Breakaway might have been my favorite, but honestly, I know this one's not everyone's favorite, but I really enjoyed this. I thought it was so fun. I think, doesn't she like tutor him or something? Yes, she tutors him in his writing class, and does he need a fake girlfriend? Yes. Oh my god, fake dating, so good. Tutor, like, he's a football star. It's kind of crazy because they're all brothers, and so this one's a hockey star, and this one, he's adopted, but he's a baseball star. And I really like Sebastian, but this whole book was like, I read it kind of on the quicker side because I glossed over a lot of parts where Mia's just kind of being mean. I hate that when a girl is just mean. Kind of remind me of, I think it's not A Long Time Coming. It's the one that comes before that by Megan Quinn in the Kane Brothers trilogy. It's the second one. The first one's Not So Me Cute, and I can't remember what the second one is right now, but it reminded me a lot of that, where the girl is like tough or like guarded, but she's really just mean. So I kind of glossed over parts of that, but I really loved this one. Was really good. Same with this. So I really enjoyed these books this month as well. That was all 21 books I read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little wrap up. I am stressed because I have to go pack all of these and like most of these to bring with me back to school. So I'm going to do that. But I'm so happy because I finally have 100 subscribers, and I just want to thank everybody so much for watching, subscribing, and liking, and viewing, and just whatever. I have so much fun making videos, and it's just so exciting to see a little milestone like that. It just brightens up my day. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. That's that, and I will see y'all when I see y'all. Bye!